Hello, I'm Finola Burke from Research as a Service, and we are catching up with Greg Bader, the CEO of rent.com.au. Welcome, Greg.
Thanks, Finola. Great to be here.
Now, the core search business, rent.com.au, has recorded its seventh consecutive quarter of positive EBITDA. What were the factors driving this result?
The rental market in Australia at the moment, it's in a pretty tough spot. We're 30% down on listing volumes compared to 2 years ago, and that's across the market. We've got vacancy rates at sub 1% in certain areas. We've got Queensland, southern Queensland especially, has been really hard hit. It's diabolical there at the moment. So we've had a really great quarter. Some of our products that are triggered by actual moves, for example, our bond finance is probably a bit down on what we expected, but it's being offset by other products that are, especially rent checks. Rent checks, we're doing over 100 a day at the moment. People trying to, competitive environment, they need to stand out in the crowd. So overall, it's been really strong. Last month was our strongest month ever, and obviously the quarter was our strongest quarter ever. So even though the property volumes are down, there is still people moving. The cycle this year was a little odd. January is traditionally a very strong month for movers, and it was probably a bit softer than normal, but certainly March picked up. And I share the hope, same as everybody else, that we start to get back to normality as we go forward. But it's interesting, we've got a federal election around the corner. Cost of living pressures are dominating the news. Talk about interest rate rises, but really there's not a lot of good news in either party around renters. And it's interesting, we've seen a couple of state governments, Victoria especially, step up with some new initiatives. So look, positive looking forward. Rent.com.au business is doing great. We, for a small business of our scale, we're in the top 4 portals in the country. We're number 1 rated app. People love using the service. We've got a whole bunch of product and features coming through on that over the next few months. So yeah, really, really strong position. And of course, that allows us now to continue our investment into RentPay. We see RentPay as our wealth engine. We see it as a fantastic service to consumers. We see it as a place that there's not a lot of competition, and to be honest, it's pretty hard for others to come into that place. And we've had some great gains in there. So yeah, overall, really positive. Bunch of really cool stuff coming through over the next few months, which I can't really go into, but yeah, really excited, and we're just head down, bum up at the moment.
And of course, you're still investing in RentPay. Can we expect to see a gear change in the investment cycle in this business?
Yeah, I think a lot of the big hump on the development side's starting to slow down. Of course, it'll never end. As we onboard new products and new partners, there's a development effort there. But the big chunk of it we're kind of washing through at the moment. Over the next week, we're releasing our new onboarding flows. Now, one of the challenges, and I'll be honest, one of the things we haven't got right at the start when we launched RentPay was the degree of difficulty in onboarding a customer. We had over 50 screens. There's a lot of compliance and regulatory requirements in that, so we're not just doing it for fun. But we've sat down with customers. We're looking at 2,600 customers active, but we've got 20,000 that have started the onboarding process. So there's obviously a challenge there. So the new onboarding flows will go live over the next week, halves the number of screens. It increases the level of security and compliance. So we've actually come to a really good spot there. Right now, we're in the middle of redeveloping the core of the app in terms of the dashboard. So we've sat down once again with customers. What do you need to see? What's the most important aspects? Bring them to the front, put it into a more financial, fintech kind of app in terms of everything's on the one page for you, and then you can jump down deeper as you need to go. So once again, that's been done in consultation with customers. We're not ready to go on that bit yet. That'll be another month, but that'll be another step change. And RentPay is a sound idea. There's a number of pillars to RentPay. So the first one is around technical functionality, flexibility, pay what you want, pay when you want. So that's all there. The other one was around, and a lot of our themes with RentPay are about taking advantage of what a renter has to do anyway, and then making that rent money work for you a little bit more. So the score builder is a really classic example of that. You're paying your rent anyway. 99.9% of people are doing it well, doing it on time. So how do we build a mechanism that recognises and rewards you? And that's what Score Builder does. So there are other aspects that we're playing around with. And in previous presentations, we've talked about utilities, mortgages. They're fundamental big ticket items that we see as really important to the future rent pay. And they're the ones that will start driving not only rebalancing or improving the customer value proposition, of course, but also giving us other ARPU triggers as we go through.
You now have more than 2,600 active customers on the RentPay platform, and more than 18 million in rent's been paid into the platform to date.
22 million.
22 now. Wow.
Million a week we're doing. Yep.
Yeah. So, are you happy with the progress, and what can we expect to see in this quarter?
When we started this, and this is on me, I really underestimated the degree of difficulty in getting this out the door. So it took us a bit longer to develop it. We launched the product. We're still adding features and functionality, improving it as we go. Now, we always knew that RentPay as a platform would continually evolve. It's not a flick it out the door and off it goes sort of thing. So we always knew we'd have a bit of a burn and a ramp up. Mm-hmm. We've had some really positive feedback from agents, and in fact, over the last 2 months, we've been working closely with a couple of really large agencies to just customise it slightly to suit them, not just around the reconciliation and reporting side, but little features like flexibility on the pricing. Some agencies prefer to subsidise it for customers, others want to pass the cost on. So just putting all that control in the back end seamlessly so it appears the right way to the customer. So a lot of that's working. So we've just started in the last week onboarding a number of those agencies, and we're talking thousands and thousands of consumers there. We've had some approaches by some of the rent to buy guys. That's interesting. I mean, as a concept, I love it from a renting point of view because it starts to change the dynamic and the balance in the stock in our country. Our country is too heavily weighted to mum and dad owners. And with a mum and dad owner, I'm talking not a professional, I'm talking a single person owner there, we have the inevitable lease security issue there because circumstances change and sometimes people need to move back into the house or whatnot. So having a better mix of stock is a good thing. Now, with the rent to buy guys, some of them are affiliated with real estate agencies, so they already have that full property management capability. Others aren't. So, RentPay offers them a really low-cost, fully featured, secure payment transaction model, and then leaves their staff to physically managing the keys and whatnot. So, and there's hybrids of all that, of course. So, yeah, looking really positive going forward. We've started some marketing, small. We've done a lot of research in our marketing. There's a lot of, I guess, the back end stuff going on. We're not quite ready to hit the ground with above the line in a big way right now. We've got some stuff we want to get out the door before we do that because it fundamentally changes the messaging and the story for consumers. So yeah, look, positive. With RentPay, we're just on the right side of right, and I probably keep banging on about it, but it's an ethical model that just works. We've got. There's 9 different ways you can pay your rent. We've got customers doing all combinations of that. We've got customers syncing to their payday. So it's a bit of a niche product. We aren't the most well-known brand in the world, and we do need to spend money to change that, but we're not doing that just yet. We're waiting for a couple of things to come out the door first.
Well, I'm looking forward to catching up again with you in a few months, Greg, to see the progress of rent.com.au. Thank you for your time today.
No worries. Thank you. Cheers.